Today, over 3 million Palestinians are living under a brutal and illegal Israeli military occupation in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. And in the Gaza Strip, another 2 million Palestinians are being subjected to a devastating Israeli siege and blockade. Israel has methodically stolen Palestinian land in direct violation of international law, demolished Palestinian homes, built Jewish-only settlements, and imprisoned Palestinians in their own land by surrounding them with walls, military watchtowers, and checkpoints, denying them freedom of movement and visiting routine daily humiliation on them. Within Israel itself, 1.6 million Palestinian citizens of Israel, or nearly 20% of Israel's total population, live under a system of racial discrimination that meets the United Nations definition of apartheid. While another 6.5 million Palestinians live as refugees or exiles outside of Israel, a result of the more than 750,000 Palestinians who fled or were driven from their homes when the State of Israel was established in 1948 and have been denied the right to return ever since. At the same time, Palestinians living in Gaza have endured successive Israeli bombardments, most recently in 2014, when Israel killed more than 2,000 Palestinians, a quarter of them children. Israel has only been able to continue these systematic violations of Palestinian human rights because of the support and complicity of international governments and corporations. And this is why, in 2005, Palestinian civil society launched the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions Movement, or BDS, modeling itself on the nonviolent anti-apartheid movement targeting South Africa in the 1980s, and the civil rights movement in the United States in the 1960s. BDS calls for boycotting Israel until it complies with international law by ending its illegal military occupation of Palestinian land, recognizing the full equality of Palestinian citizens of Israel, and assuring the right of Palestinian refugees to return to their homes. Since its founding, the BDS movement has inspired people around the world to take action against Israel and to stand alongside the Palestinian people in solidarity. It's become especially active on American college campuses. But while the movement has grown and won the support of progressive Jewish organizations like Jewish Voice for Peace, it has also inspired a fierce backlash from pro-Israel advocates in the U.S. who claim BDS delegitimizes Israel and is anti-Semitic.
I think we all know what it's designed to do. It's designed to delegitimize Israel.
BDS is part of a more generalized effort to destroy the state of Israel.
The movement itself, its intent, its goals are anti-Semitic.
These claims have been heard from across the political spectrum.
There's only one word for it: anti-Semitism. Let us call out the BDS movement for what it is.
We must also be vigilant against bigoted or dangerous ideologies masquerading as policy, and that includes BDS.
And this rhetoric is now being backed up with a range of policies that aim to actually criminalize pro-Palestinian speech and activism in the U.S.
We turn now to the ongoing crackdown on pro-Palestinian activism here in the United States.
The U.S. House of Representatives overwhelmingly passed a resolution condemning BDS as anti-Semitic. 27 states have passed anti-BDS legislation, and elected American representatives such as Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar have been denied entry to Israel and viciously smeared as anti-Semites in mainstream media for their support of BDS and Palestinian rights.
Two of the most virulent anti-Semites to ever hold public office. That would be Congresswoman Tlaib and Congresswoman Omar, who are obsessed with hating Israel.
Cutting off aid to Israel because of two people that hate Israel and hate Jewish people. I can't believe we're even having this conversation.
This is a woman who, by the way, called you a white supremacist, and the irony there is that if she wasn't a member of Congress, she'd be a member of the KKK.
In the midst of this accelerating crackdown on pro-Palestinian voices, one of the few places left where Israel's violations of Palestinian rights can be debated and discussed is the American campus. And that's exactly why Trump-supporting billionaires like Sheldon Adelson and New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft are funding right-wing lobbying efforts to combat BDS and pro-Palestinian activism on U.S. campuses. And it's why the U.S. government is now aggressively policing how Israel is talked about in the classroom.
The Trump administration's threatening to cut federal funding to a Middle East studies program. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos ordered a probe after North Carolina Republican Congressman George Holding accused the program of having a, quote, severe anti-Israeli bias and anti-Semitic rhetoric, unquote.
In addition to new Trump administration policies targeting American colleges and universities, prominent academics and advocates for BDS and Palestinian human rights from other countries are being denied visas to visit American universities.
They're involved in true McCarthyism, with loyalty to Israel being the litmus test. But Israel is certainly spying on U.S. citizens who are active in the BDS movement. Several of Israel's lobby groups are funding the so-called Canary Mission, which is smearing activists on campus, especially Jewish activists who support Palestinian rights.
And on this very campus, right-wing watchdog groups have targeted faculty who teach about Israel's human rights violations, and have attempted to vilify and shut down events at UMass that focus on the crackdown on pro-Palestinian speech. And tonight's event is no exception. Attacked once again by right-wing groups, and this time around even publicly condemned by the chancellor of this university.
Tenure is under attack. Our jobs are under attack. Our lives are under attack.
But as last May's event showed, those fighting for Palestinian human rights will not be silenced and are not backing down.
But we are committed to paying that price. We must all be committed to paying that price.
And I will tell you, as a Palestinian American, as a daughter and granddaughter and great-great-great-granddaughter of Palestinians, that I will not be silenced. I will not be intimidated. And I will continue to stand strong in my positions.